Jack Welch, this was the vision for GE when he ran it. And it was really great for his strategy. He used it actively to be number one or number two in every market he served, and to do it with the speed and the agility of an entrepreneurial enterprise. See, that's your real strength, your speed and agility. So he made sure that we were either number one or number two. If we weren't, then he'd fire the division manager and hire somebody else. And if that didn't work out, they sold business. So that their businesses were one or two, and he kept the size strategically smaller so that it was more entrepreneurial and could be more flexible.
Also got the focus.
Absolutely.
Now, the opposite of that,
The
company I worked for was Allied Signal.
Oh, boy,
And
yeah.
back in the 80s, they were buying and selling and buying and selling. The company didn't know what it was supposed to be doing.
No direction.
No direction.
Yeah.
It was very tough. I was relocated for the 10 years I worked for 3 times.
Wow. So here's some, I gave examples of personal mission and personal values, and those personal values of the CEO becoming the organization. Just a couple quick things to carry that thing along. It's important to do this for yourself, for your own self-branding. What's your vision statement? The second one, I worked with an entrepreneur who built this company, and he actually sold his company and did that.
It's funny that
You worked at the same time?
no, it was a long time ago. I had attended a workshop like this and done this exercise where he said, we got to find it and write it out and do that. I did it. And, I took some time and effort, but then I did it, and I forgot about it. And then it was a couple years ago, I was cleaning out, kind of found it. And I actually hit. Every one of those things without actually even going back and referring to it, but it was just, having set out that kind of thing, and kind of focusing on even subconsciously. I think really helps.
For sharing that. So all of these things really help with your own self-branding. So now that you have this and the vision, then who are the customers that you want to attract? And how do you go about building that part of the business? This is a step that often gets skipped by people in leadership roles. All right. So how's everybody doing? Need to stand up and move around a little bit, or are you okay?
I have one comment earlier. You had mentioned that I was in the business of cleaning clothes, the mission. Now, the mission of my company is actually the conservation of water, not.
Oh, that's wonderful. No, I was actually
It's
making
much
a little bit of
broader.
a joke about transforming, so.
No, I know, because you made it so narrow.
No, and you shouldn't. Mission should be big. Your mission is exactly the right way to do it. So I was just making a little joke.
No, I know. But I just kept thinking about that, and that was wrong.
Yes,
Because we're also.
I stand corrected.
We're looking at all water-intensive applications. I mean, it could be dishwashers, it could be toilets, all sorts of things. We're looking to serve water for the rest of the world.
Now that is inspiring. See, that's the thing. How can you inspire people with exactly that kind of mission? It's so much. I mean, don't you want to work for a company that? Now the hard part is, as an internal customer and as an external customer, if you have this inspiring mission and this strong set of core values, and you hire people that model those values, and you're executing on your plan, that's great. But if you're not in alignment, it really shows. It really shows. And that's one of the reasons people keep things vague and it's not clear what their core is about, because it's easier not to talk about it, but you don't get the same results. Yes?
I was going to make a comment. I won't use the word conserve, because for some people, once they hear that, like, oh, that means I can water my lawn, I can, I think what you want to do is say, have more usage, of water without, using without paying more for water.
And the waste flush them down the drain, but the process is not green because you're dumping 40 gallons of water down the drain every time you wash clothes. And people are dying from lack of water. We even flush clean water down the toilets, and people die from water down the
Well, the last area, so we talked about emotional self-awareness as a key success variable for leadership. We talked about branding and self-branding, branding for your entrepreneurial ventures. And the last area is this ability to network. And some of the people that did any of you read Jim Collins' book, Good to Great? Okay, that's kind of a classic. Well, a lot of entrepreneurs did not like that book. And the reason they didn't, it was because it was about big companies. So a guy named Keith McFarland, have any of you heard of Keith McFarland? He wrote a book called Great Creek Company. In fact, there is a Great Creek Company just south of us, Chico's. Chico's started out as a little mom and pop. They had contacts in Mexico and South America, and they would import all these kind of creative, fun, wild outfits, and jewelry, and hats, and bags, and that kind of thing. So he talks about how do companies make a transition from being this small entrepreneurial one to becoming mid-size, and in some cases, Citrix is another one, Coach Meetings, Coach Webinars, that's listed. And one of the things, after talking to over 7,000 companies and doing his research, that he found that the companies that were able to cross over growth-wise were companies where the CEO really got that he or she could not do it alone, that they needed to have a network. Now, when we think of that, when I say network, what do you think of? What does that network mean to you?
People that you know with all different types of backgrounds.
Yeah, so we know an IP attorney and tax person, okay? Other interpretations of network?
Yeah, we actually had a network seminar maybe about a week ago.
That's sweet. Okay.
Actually, when I think of network, I think more of assets. A lot of times those assets are people.
Could be tools.
Could be tools, could be enablers, anything.
It could be social, professional, network.
Exactly.
Gives you the luxury of identifying your core competencies and sticking to them and shedding everything else because there's somewhere which you shed.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I really want to talk in the remaining time we have about a little narrower definition of network, because all the things you talk about are valid and are part of different types of networks as we define them. But one of the most powerful networks that I've ever experienced, and one of the reasons I continue to facilitate CEO roundtables, is when CEOs come together. It's a group of CEOs. I've met with this group now for 7 years. And so Tony DiBenedetto over there, that's like, there I am. He started, he's the president of Tribridge. In this group, and he lets me tell you the story. He announced to the group that it was $8 million in size. He was going to be a $100 million company. And one of the guys, Sean, he's always laughing, actually spit his coffee out all over the table when Tony said that. Tony now is over 100 million in size. Tribridge is a real player, the 4th largest bar in the country. So coming together in a way where you have professional intimacy, and because you know it gets lonely at the top. And it's amazing how we go to people that we trust, which might be a spouse, might be a friend, might be another entrepreneur, but they don't have the experience to be able to advise you. And so I'll tell you in a minute some of the things we do in the group. What this group does is it meets for a half day every month to focus on each other's business and leadership issues. So people bring an issue to the group. On average, we cover 2 to 3 issues in a meeting. And the collective intelligence of the group is broad and experience, bears down on that person's issues. And they get some no holds barred feedback. I mean, I've had CEOs bring a business plan in and say, take a look at this, and we go through our process, and then it gets to the recommendations point. And one of the other CEOs says, hey, why don't you just go play golf for a year. You're not projecting any growth. I don't accept this whining that your industry's not doing well. And I mean, that sounds like tough love, and it was. But that CEO went back and rewrote his plan, and his business grew 10% that year in a down market for his industry.
Actually, in two separate events where they had people from the Grow Florida program speaking, and some of them were even back when Grow Florida actually needed money. So they had actually received money from Grow Florida. But when they were asked what the greatest benefit from Grow Florida they achieved, it wasn't the money. It was actually the CEO.
Roundtables, yeah. This roundtable is not a Grow Florida roundtable. This is part of my practice, CEO Florida Forums. But I am involved with 3 Grow Florida roundtables, one in Sarasota, one in Orleans, and then in the Innovation Center. And it's a great program. People are
Right, but it
saying
is
the same thing.
I see a roundtable in Japan.
Yeah.
It just happened to Grow Florida.
Right.
My point was that they gave them money, and usually the money's, you know.
Okay, this.
Right, they get that.
My first roundtable when I was, I started working with Inc., it was a more rigorous one. We used to meet for a full day, and people had to do quite a bit of preparation for them. And now people just don't take the time to do that. But when I first started doing that work, it amazed me how it bonded people. And so I was a younger consultant, and I had a real seasoned group of people. Well, they all sold their companies and they're all retired, and some of them are older. They meet on their own now, like after years, 4 times a year, and they have their round table and they talk about whatever. So there is this element of friendship and all that gets established. But apart from that, for your businesses, if you're not part of a network or a roundtable, I really hope that your incubator installs one, because getting together periodically to focus on each other's business issues can be extremely helpful. What are some of the issues that people talk about in this kind of network? This roundtable I was with today.
Oh, there was actually not.
Yes. It just happened to be these pictures. So business strategy, acquisition, how do I handle an employee situation, just a variety of different things. Yes?
So if you're in a large corporation, you're working and you're a leader, and then if you come across a situation where people have a lot of mindset and you have to deal with that. You know, mindsets are very difficult to change.
Sure.
So how do you approach that situation?
In a large company?
In leadership in general.
Sure. Well, before I share my view, does anybody have a response to her question?
So that would say different mindset is another perspective.
Need to be open.
Well,
Well, the leader is the one who, if you bring a new idea to his culture, and you think it's a very good idea and you're very innovative. And I meet some youngsters, they feel very frustrated. I am from another generation, and I communicate with this younger generation, and when they go out and talk with these leaders who are already there,
yes.
and now they are taking these new ideas, which is for a 21st century, and they feel frustrated with this mindset of people because they are already at these positions. So how do you approach that as a leadership?
Well, there's not a pat answer, but the culture that gets shaped by the values we've been talking about, it is part of that, and then there are all the unwritten rules of an organization. And so many times there are a variety of different dynamics that could be going on. One is that you might have baby boomers in top leadership positions, and then you have probably millennials, the children of the baby boomers. So the one trait that millennials have is that they don't really see a hierarchy. Not that there should be one, but a lot of them make the assumption that I need to be doing this next, And so the baby boomer becomes defensive because they've been so achievement-oriented their whole career to get to that place. So the dynamic I think, needs to be around our vision, how do we achieve it, and having an atmosphere where all ideas are valid to explore. But unfortunately, a lot of companies don't operate that way.
Unfortunately, emotional unintelligence is the root.
So just getting back to finish this, and we'll come back to your questions. Let me just share with you the format we use. And let me tell you for a minute how this might apply to a larger corporation. Even though these roundtables are for entrepreneurs and CEOs, I've actually implemented them as key leader groups in companies where people, some of them young professionals, some of them, in the middle of their careers, could meet in a confidential circle and talk about their business issues. And it made a huge difference because many times, even inside your company, you don't have people that you can talk with. The tricky part is that trust is hard to establish because people kind of don't want to spill everything with their peers. Just let me finish this thought. So taking it back to this though, here's the process that we use. People come in and they do an update typically. What are your top 2 challenges right now? What are your top 2 opportunities? And update us on progress on a past issue. So that kind of takes about a half hour for people to go around the table, in the round tables to talk about.
They've all signed on disclosure.
All non-disclosure, all non-disclosure. And they share financials too, by the way. So then, the decision now. So we'll take an issue. Today, I was with someone who, hold on. Let me just take an example. One of our CEOs brought the issue that I was a startup, I got my company to a certain size, and I had, some really loyal employees, some of which were able to make the transition to a bigger company, but others, despite their loyalty, and my giving them titles of vice president because I couldn't pay them enough, now they're vice presidents and they're not the right fit for our company anymore. Our company's grown. We've outgrown that person's skill set. How do I handle this situation? I know I need to either offer something at a much more junior position in the company or let that person go. So that might be an example, and it has been an example of what that person's issue is. So then the person, the CEO, lays out, this all happens like in 10, 12, 15 minutes, lays out some key facts that people need to know. He's got a family, his wife has cancer, just a host of different facts that get laid out. And then talks about, here's some of the options I've been thinking about, and these are steps I've taken or I might take. So then they zip it. Then all the other CEOs would go around and they ask questions. Use the Socratic approach. Very powerful. Because you find out what you know and don't know about the kinds of questions people ask you. So we go through this questioning phase as we address an issue in the round table. And then that terminates, that goes on for about 15 minutes, sometimes longer if it's a big issue. And then each person shares their experience and their recommendations to the CEO that brought the issue to the group. And we don't start talking about it until after everybody shares it. And the CEO is advised to take notes, but not try to react and say, oh, that's a good idea, but I tried that. Just to hear every CEO. It's amazing, the diversity of opinion that comes out, the ideas, and then after every person shares their experience and feedback, we have a discussion. And so here's, pretty free form, people talk about it, and then I turn to the CEO and say, what are the 3 or 4 things that you heard that you're gonna act on? I write those down, he writes those down, and at the next meeting, it serves as an accountability system. Hey, what's going on with that issue? What did you do? And it's very, very simple, but powerful process.
I see no reason why that's only into a CEO now.
It's not.
Any meeting where you're trying to solve a problem, I don't see why that wouldn't work.
Well, yeah, it works with key leader programs. So So this is how, you know, a young professional might bring an issue to the group. The issue might be, I can't get my boss to hear my ideas. And they use this format, and they get views from other people. Now, the truth is, to the doctor's comment, there are some organizations where it doesn't feel like no matter what you do, the culture is such that you're not going to get the airtime. What were you going to say?
He asked me already, or he answered the question. I was curious if they signed the CBA.
Yes, yes.
And the other thing you were talking about, that's actually the Peter principle, where you have a person in a position, and then the company puts him in a different position, but he's not as effective behind that position.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we hear the term Peter principle a lot with bigger companies. In an entrepreneurial one, because you're bootstrapping many times, you take people on that are willing to help and are loyal. The problem becomes as your business grows and you've given them titles that is the only way you could really elevate them for their loyalty, then you can put yourself in a vice sometimes. And it's, you know, it's what happens a lot when you see that. So, what advice might I have for everybody in the room? We've covered a lot of things. We talked about self-awareness, emotional self-control. We talked about branding and the importance of that in attracting customers to your business, attracting employees to your business, the right people. And then we also took a look at the importance of having a network, not just a network of resources that do things for you, a place where you can go, where you have other trusted advisors to support you and your company as you grow. And I'd like to leave you with this thought. I'll hang around for questions. Oh, no, I'm not going to leave you yet. I've got to give a pitch for, so this is all right focus, right people, right execution. And here's my advice. It's really important to act. If you heard anything that you felt like you might want to act on, capture it, act on it, because you know, the worst thing that can happen is that you don't get to go shopping on time. I think that would be a little pain. It's like saying, okay, Harold, get it out of your system. I want to go shopping.
That's a penguin and a polar bear.
Pardon?
Penguins and a polar bear. That never happened.
I know. I know. It's really hard to take that picture. Polar opposites.
Right.
Literally. Yeah. You're very astute to pick that up. Okay. So, was this helpful to you? So what questions or comments anybody has?
I remember policy seemed to be people get promoted until they reach their level of competency.
That's what Hercules was saying.
Yes.
So how did this match up with what you do?
I think your first point is probably the biggest key to leading a company. And it's, you know, we started with primary, mid, and secondary. You have to recognize your own emotions and how they affect you. Then you have to be able to hover over and see how you reflect them on others. Can you tell that I'm mad or frustrated or upset or not? And there's several tertiary effects, and that is, okay, well, I never let my employees see me get really angry, except when I need to. And then how you meter the anger, so that one time you say, okay, now I'm angry. Because you get a huge impact when nobody's ever seen you angry. You can't overuse it, but then you also have to watch how you impact them with your emotions so that you can, and you use your own emotions. Okay, this is making me feel uneasy, although I don't want them to know. That means everybody else is probably feeling uneasy. What can I give them in emotional leadership to feed what they need to get through this? And, you know, my joke is always once you learn to fake sincerity, it's all downhill. But truly, it's a performance. And I hate to tell you this, I'm nice to you because I want the ultimate success of your company, the project. You know, it's not just because I love you, it's because I want you to do the best you possibly can do if it needs to be done. But you can't be emotional critical. So I can help you. You know what I mean? So it's huge. Integrity for me is part of that.
Yeah, that's an
Because You have to see that one as well.
Yeah.
One treasury failure, and it doesn't matter if because they know all the feeling free to fund it.
Great. Well, thank you for your time and attention. I don't want to keep you beyond the 3:30